Okay, so again, this just represents the movement of the living things in the Columbian Exchange. The most important of which, in terms of the next 100 years of colonization, is probably going to be disease, as Mr. Eskridge said. So,
All right. So Spain is really the first European country to make contact. As Mr. Vieira talked about, Columbus sets sail. He convinces the Spanish queen and king to fund his expedition. So he's sailing under the Spanish flag, even though he's Italian. And so we have Spain make contact. Christopher Columbus first lands in the Caribbean on what will become the island that is half of it is Haiti, half of it is Dominican Republic. And then from there, he's going to quote unquote discover the other islands in the Caribbean before the Spanish finally get to mainland North America in like the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Okay, so what Spain really develops after they are able to conquer the Aztecs and other developed peoples within Central America and Mexico is Spain is going to look at how do we control this region now. And so what Spain establishes first is known as the encomienda system. The encomienda system has shown up multiple times on previous APUSH exams, comparing and contrasting Spanish colonization with English or with others. So it's important that we know and understand the encomienda system. And basically, under the encomienda system, the Spanish crown would give a plot of land, whatever the size of that would be, to a Spaniard, to someone that would petition the king. I want control over this region in the New World, and that Spaniard, that individual, was given not just control of the land, but also the Indians that lived on the land, with the promise that that Spaniard would convert the Indians, the natives, to Christianity, therefore, bringing those cultural practices of Spain to the New World. And basically, the encomienda system is just slavery. And so the Spanish kind of use this idea of, this guise of Christianity, yet really, when we look at it, what it really is using Indian labor to fuel the Spanish economy in growing sugar for European markets.
all right, so here is a map of the Americas, kind of the different parts of the two continents that the various European powers had colonized or were responsible for colonizing. You can see just by looking at the map the possibility of potential conflict, especially in modern day Canada, modern day the United States, with French and English colonization. So stay tuned for that. Wrapping up chapter one, we'll discuss Spanish contact with the Americas. So, as Mr. Eskridge said just now, the encomienda system was set up and was a systematic way for the Spanish to have a labor source and then to kind of set in motion their plan to conquer the New World. Now, the Spanish conquest sets up these specific trends with relation to the Americas. The first one is resource extraction. The Spanish land that they conquered, when they set up their colonies, they struck gold quite literally. The Spanish conquered parts of the New World that were rich in mineral wealth. For example, silver and gold with the Aztec and the Inca empires. And so they will kind of set the precedent that in the New World, it's a land that's rich in gold, which obviously was true for the Spanish, but as we'll see with chapter 2 and chapter 3, English colonization in the New World is going to take on a totally different kind of reality when they start to establish colonies on the east coast of North America.
So as Mr. Baird alluded to, in other parts of North America, the English will find that agriculture is really what they're going to start making their money off of. So we'll see tobacco, we'll see other products like indigo, rice, and we'll see fishing, we'll see extracting trees in the form of lumber to build ships and other things like that. And another trend that it sets up and that we'll continue to see is the enslaving of local populations. So we kind of mentioned that already with the encomienda system. We're going to see that trend continue later on with the English. Prior to the use of Africans for slavery, we have Europeans utilizing the local populations, forcing them to work the land, again, extract the land of those minerals, of those agricultural products. And oftentimes those native peoples were enslaved and worked until they died of disease or they died from just working too hard.
And then lastly, the last trend that's set in motion, as we previously discussed, cultural conversion. Part of Spanish colonization, and this is going to be a theme throughout most of European colonization, was this concept of saving souls, that the Spanish came to the New World, and Christopher Columbus especially came with this idea that they were going to find land in the name of the crown, but then also they were going to save souls in the name of the church. And so what you saw, which was commonplace throughout the New World, especially in Central America, was this forced conversion of religious beliefs onto local populations. And often this was done brutally through forms of torture and murder to set examples for those individuals that were likely to resist this conversion. So I think that pretty much covers everything for chapter 1, the New World. Remember, obviously this is the summertime, and both myself and Mr. Eskridge are probably hard at work doing nothing, but we are excited to begin the new year off with you guys. And one last reminder, you are responsible for reading chapter 1 on American Yawp. I hope that you will find it entertaining. We do, but we're nerds. And we will have that reading quiz on the first day of school. So,
have a great summer.